before. And this is the Conscious Cruising Podcast. And today I want to welcome you to the Hero's Journey, a powerful coaching for you. I'm delighted to share this amazing offer with the world in this podcast to begin with, so that you have an idea of what I do. I have incorporated a new set of powerful tools to my coaching, including how I work with the archetypes to help you de-story yourself from the old disempowering narratives and unlock your true potential. I'm now offering the opportunity to receive the new introductory low-cost package of 8 coaching sessions to people ready for this powerful type of inner work. So deprogramming coaching, which uses the Hero's Journey as well. Deprogramming coaching is for you if you feel that there is more to you than you're currently experiencing and how you're showing up. It's for you if you feel stuck and you want to be moving forward in life with your health or with your purpose. It's for you if you're ready to do the deep inner work to come into wholeness, create value out of your unique gifts and skills in a way that supports you and your community as well. You see, deprogramming coaching is truly transformational. At the end, you will begin, because it's a beginning of a journey with 8 weeks, because the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you use this modality, the more attuned you become to yourself. So once you start applying this modality, after 8 weeks, you will be able to see where power and energy are lost in your life so that you can regain your vitality and health. Learn about your root programs that keep you stuck and disconnected from your real self. You will know how to release unconsciously trapped energy and resistance in your mind and in your body. You will definitely get to a point of clearly seeing where you're resisting. You will find your place in life, and on your hero's journey, you will know how to turn shadows into gifts while working with archetypes and simple deprogramming tools to release the energy trapped. You will undergo a profound transformation, though. A profound transformation that can impact every area of your life, including seeing the people in your life transforming just as a result of your own inner transformation. Because you can't expect anything from anywhere else, from anybody else. So you will start seeing that. Brain fog will start disappearing, and you will feel truly energized physically with more mental presence. But the most powerful result of this journey will be a newly found connection with yourself, which is the biggest gem, the biggest prize. Establish a firm, intimate connection with yourself first, before anyone else. With your real self, you will be able to really connect with the external world and the extension, which is the extension of yourself. And I can say this because I have gone through this program myself, and the changes I started to experience were incredible, and they still are. So much was changing, the way I was doing things and the way I feel and the way I felt. And I felt the difference even just after 4 sessions, and I liked it so much that I decided to train. I decided to actually train in using this modality, and I've been working ever since with that for a good 2 years now. So I'd like to invite you to connect with me and book a free discovery sessions where we can have a conversation about any issue you may have which you'd like some help with, or perhaps you'd like to clarify any of the aspects of deprogramming and how it works, or any thoughts that you may want to share as a result of listening to these podcasts. about what you're experiencing now, especially if you sense a shift within you, a change in your way of relating to your body or your environment, your life, and any curiosity that may have risen as a result of these changes, these subtle changes. And I'll be happy to answer any question, share more about my journey and how it helped me overcome some of the unresolved traumas I was still carrying around, trapped in my body and in my psyche. And I'll also be happy to hear more about you and even how we may serve together in the future. So go ahead, feel free to book yourself a discovery session with no obligation to see if this works for you. And you'll also get the introductory 8-session offer if you decide to go ahead and you'd like to try deprogramming, of course. And for those of you who might be interested, that offer is valid until the summer solstice. Now is the time. This year is a big one. And it's the time to step outside our boxes, our comfort zone, and connect with like-minded people to share our insights and curiosities. Even if you felt totally confused and still pretty new to your new reality, even if you felt no idea, you had no idea where you're going. If any of this resonates with you, all you've got to do right now is to take up this offer and show up. Show up as you are. That's all is required. For the many of us navigating this particular frequency, this is all that's required at the moment. When you start de-storying yourself, when you start healing and therefore letting go of a lot of mental burden, a lot of luggage, negative thoughts, negative energy, old habits that we've come to identify with, when all that starts to happen and you let go, it feels a bit like being in an empty house and experiencing a disconcerting feeling of emptiness. And in a house, it's more evident because the empty house you're standing is physical. And you're standing there with your physical body makes that emptiness even more vivid through your 5 senses and your emotions. That's when we need to reside in that void, free from labels. And this is where we are, when we feel that disconcerting emptiness, void. That's the true freedom. We all want freedom, but when we experience real freedom, we kind of freak out because it's alien to us. So that emptiness is the freedom that we're looking for, and is kind of like the death of the ego. Now, the ego is very important to us. It exists for a very, very good reason, and it performs a very important role. It has a very important role, but only when it's kept under control, under discipline, or a better word is if it's kept in balance. So for the ego to be kept in balance, we need to be the captain of this ship that we are. To use a famous metaphor, that I am the captain of my ship and I perform a conscious cruising, but we can't cruise all the time. Cruising implies an inner well-being that is also achieved by accepting whenever a storm is coming. We need to weather it out. We need to navigate through it, and that's when we become more conscious. So to go back to the original thought point, in that void where we are right now, when we don't know, what am I going to do? I don't know, just show up. In that void, we can really embody I am, which is the concept of our divinity, our infinity. So I can show up as I am And that's all is required. And the conscious cruising community starts with this foundation. The I am showing up in all its divinity, purity, freedom, emptiness, and openness. This is where we start from the understanding that I don't need to bring any special gift with me to the party, because I now know that I am already creating value by being, by existing, and showing up like this, as I am, and participating, by offering my time, by investing my energy in showing up and share with the community, with the group, however small it is. I'm showing up. So go ahead, contact me, and I mean it. I'd love to hear from you. Step up. The time has come, and we're all due an upgrade. So moving on, what is deprogramming? Well, before I answer the question, think about this. I would like to ask you a few questions first. Well, rather than asking you a few questions, ask yourself, who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? While you take a bit of time thinking about these questions, thinking about the answers to these questions, I'm going to answer the first of those three. So the first important question is, who am I? Well, what you are is an amazing, powerful being. You can literally snap your fingers and anything you wish can instantly manifest in your life. But don't make the mistake of falling into that New Age propaganda, because this is a big red herring coming from society, which is designed to keep you in cuckoo land, forever chasing for some fake enlightenment as a fake reward. Or, this is at the very best. At the very worst, if I tell you, snap your finger and anything you wish can instantly manifest in your life, you probably think I'm crazy, the kind of person, new agey, and disillusioned. But if you keep an open mind throughout these episodes, I don't have the answers all in one episode. There's so much that is connected, let's imagine that every time this podcast goes, it's like I throw the fish net into the sea, and I'll catch something. And when it's like with the fish net, you can touch one particular corner of the net, but you will affect all the other parts, all the rest of the net. So it's the same thing, what we're describing here. Going back to who you are, you're so powerful because you have the power to create absolutely anything you wish. Your natural state is of infinite abundance. So keep your mind open. Just follow this narrative. Just pretend you're watching a film. Having said that, most people can't even begin to conceive how powerful us human beings really are. And the cynicism towards such ideas may keep some people even further from ever tasting that power. I am talking about the real power you have as a human being, because in your natural state you don't lack anything. You have everything you need. You are everything you need. You have at your disposal the ability to strongly feel your reality and all the way to physical manifestation. And stay with me for a minute. That's exactly what you did to incarnate in this universe. Going forward with this narrative, your greatest power lies in your ability to emote, if only you learned to be truly connected to your feelings. So take a moment Just feel the energy of your emotions. No thinking, no logic, no intellect, no judgment, no labeling. Just feel. Easier said than done, right? For many. For those who struggle to really switch off the mind, now you have an idea, first-hand experience of how difficult it is. But it's not impossible because people have done it. People who at the beginning felt exactly the same as you're feeling now. They weren't innately attracted to this thing. They kept an open mind and they started and they felt a slight difference, a slight change, and then they carried on, and eventually people have managed to truly feel in a powerful way the intensity. So what does that tell you? Can you actually admit, for those people who might be more skeptical, and maybe not the people listening this podcast, but I'm sure that each of the people listening will know at least one person who is like that in their circles. And a good way to make them realize, if other people, human beings like you and me, more educated, less educated, of all ages, have managed to switch off their mind, do you realize that maybe, just maybe, there is an imbalance in your life and in our society, in the culture of our society right now, currently? There is an imbalance because the spiritual aspect of life, the mystical aspect of life, the invisible, has been suppressed increasingly over the course of probably centuries. There are ages of enlightenment that tried to put society under straight lines, but the Romantics won the case afterwards, and they triumphed, and they came in to create a new language, the same language that 150 years later the likes of Freud used in order to formulate theories and concepts like the unconscious. All these concepts are thanks to language. And the language of the Romantics, who came after the French Revolution, their influence was to recreate and reconnect to the laws of nature and of chaos, and how to mold the clay, so to speak, of life by being adaptive and respectful of nature, by realizing that human nature is nature. And that's how the rigidity of enlightenment proved unsustainable in the end. Still useful. So going back to some people's inability to feel their emotions and actually respect them, that's a suppression that has been created by undermining the spiritual aspect, especially in the education system. We have come to actually literally poo-pooing anything that comes, any concept that comes from intuition, from feelings, from the spiritual, and so on. So supernatural, but luckily quantum physics that came in, started to influence our culture in the 1950s, is bringing some balance to that by giving it justice and backing up these concepts and a lot of this concept, mystic concepts, which are not new agey, backing them up with science. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you don't feel the energy of your emotions, we have to relearn and rediscover our superpower, because the intensity you feel is your power of creation, and that is who you really are. You are a vibrational being, consciousness, but consciousness feels beyond the five senses. But in order to get to the magic, you need to free yourself first so that you can get out of the way, so to speak. And you have a lot to gain if you free your system of the unconscious programs which still often influence your behavior, because you're still bombarded by the culture, by what we come to call the matrix. Everybody's talking about the matrix, using this word as a concept. So in order to step out, we need to dismantle these programs from within. And that's what deprogramming allows you to do, if you're willing to get on a powerful journey that goes within, which allows you to really connect to your unconscious and clean up the chaos of entangled emotions that still block you from your going forward in the most powerful way that you can possibly use and be. So before you can go forward, you need to face the shadow aspects of yourself and truly welcome unpleasant feelings. This is how the process goes. Unpleasant feelings, unpleasant thoughts, limitations. To lighten up your nervous system and get to the next level of living. So that in itself, learning how to, rather than suppress the mind and enhance the feelings, you're dimming down, you're learning to regulate volume. And it takes time in itself. Probably the 8 weeks for some people will be sufficient to do just that. So before you can go forward, you need to face these shadow aspects of yourself. And that means not being positive at all costs. If there's something that annoys you, there's something that is out of alignment, that bugs you, that needs to be tended to immediately. So you may have wondered what deprogramming coaching is all about. Very simply, deprogramming means releasing. It's about releasing energy that is trapped in your body unconsciously, mainly through trauma. This trapped energy is also manifested as blockages in your life, the type of things that keep you stuck in a loop of bad habits. Or even though you're successful, deep down inside, you may secretly feel you're some kind of fraud. That's an indication that there is a program running underneath in your unconscious, underneath your feelings. You have to really go below the surface of your persona to actually admit, okay, I'm doing this, overachieving because I feel in a certain way, I feel unworthy. And that in itself is courageous. To see it, to admit it, and then to welcome it, and then to go below that. Because until you welcome it, and you do all those steps that I said before, you can't just ask then the feeling questions of who is actually giving instructions, and then underneath that feelings there is the program. So in whatever unique way this trapped energy manifests in your life, a powerful way to transform it is through deprogramming. In order to release it, you first have, as I said, you have to meet your inner self with complete honesty, and that's why this work requires bravery from your part in order to teach your nervous system to sustain deep inner change. It's hard work And I'm here to make your life difficult, in a way, but sustaining you. So you can use deprogramming to free yourself from unconscious programs within you, and you can basically tackle anything, because you're tackling the central system here. You can tackle anything, not only big threats in life, such as tough illnesses, but also anything that may trigger you, any kind of addiction, or if you're already well seasoned in releasing, you can use it to improve your work performance or that of your team. And by the way, with regards to improving your team work performance or improve the dynamic of any of your relationship, you don't need to do any work on them. You're the only one you need to do work on in order to affect the change in your environment. Just work on yourself. And when you experience the deep changes that deprogramming can bring in your life, you will also start seeing your environment change in amazing positive ways, including the people who orbit around you. They will change automatically. Well, by now you've heard enough times that we all need to face that shadow, face the uncomfortable truths of our psyche. You don't have to unearth everything every time. It's not a path of punishment. You don't have to work things at all costs and beat yourself up if you haven't achieved whatever things that you're expecting. It's about things unfolding at the right time, at the right pace. It's not a path of punishment. On the contrary, it's the road to freedom, the only road to freedom, to uncover, discover our ignorance and make light. So this is the road to freedom, to healing and freedom, and of intimacy with your inner self. I want to thank you for listening until the end. Perhaps you would consider sharing and subscribing to the channel to help it grow into a community of awakened individuals, all living with the same goal in mind: freedom and personal sovereignty. My name is Roxana Fiamma. I'm your hero's journey and transformation coach, and this was the Conscious Cruising Podcast.